Cool. Hey guys, my name's Michelle Vinekerv. I am a blogger of my own blog called The World of Autism. My next guest on here is Mark Fleming. How are we doing today, Mark?
Doing pretty good today, Michelle. Thanks for having me on.
Of course, of course. So I'm going to start this off here by letting you share about your experiences growing up with autism.
Okay, well, that's quite a bit. So I was originally diagnosed with PDD and OS, which is pervasive developmental disorder, not otherwise specified. This got me OT, PT, and speech therapies, which I desperately needed because I was falling down every single day to the point where my parents had a uh, a plastic surgeon on speed dial and a kind of agreement with my school that unless I was bleeding, they were not to call my parents if I found out. With OT, I couldn't hold a pencil, couldn't open doors, couldn't do some of the basic stuff you do with your hands. And then speech, very monotone. No one knew what emotion I was showing or how I was communicating. So uh, those three ended when I was about 8 to 9. Then I had a drastic move to Tampa, Florida, where I live today, and that kind of showed a regression, which then I got diagnosed with Asperger's. From there, I went to social skills class and went to therapy to try to grasp my condition better. Unfortunately, um, things were still unknown at that time. There weren't as many self-advocates, and on top of it, disability wasn't portrayed very well, so I wasn't in a good spot receiving that diagnosis because I thought I was popular and didn't know anything was wrong because I grew up in a special needs family. So we kind of all went through therapy stuff and all that, so I didn't know I was different, right? And so it took me about 8 years after I was diagnosed to start to accept myself as who I was. And that kind of led me down a journey of understanding that I had sensory issues, that I work well with individuals with disabilities, and how to properly kind of use my strengths as a autistic individual.
Wow. From your experiences, like, it's just so much has happened, but now from where you're at today and stuff, you're so involved in the community. You even run your own business. Want to tell about what you do?
Sure, I am a personal trainer. I own a personal training studio that works with individuals with all disabilities trying to improve their fitness. I mainly work on general fitness because a lot of the people within the disability population aren't given any chances out of OT and PT to improve their fitness, and thus they're sitting down and being sedentary for the vast majority of their lives, which we know decreases quality and quantity of life. And so if I can just get them being able to move better throughout their day, then their life improves drastically, and they're obviously being able to interact with me, which is a social kind of thing that they have, you know, a experience, and thus that can improve that as well. So.
That's awesome. That is very cool. I highly recommend that for anybody that is in the Florida area and stuff to go to Mark's gym because Mark is an incredible trainer. So definitely go for Mark. And also, Mark, a question that actually came up because hope one day that I don't know if you plan in the future about this is that for your gym like having employing those with disabilities to work at your gym.
Yeah, definitely. That's kind of the end goal, is to make a place that not only employs individuals with disabilities, but where they can go work out themselves, and just have that kind of community aspect that a gym can offer. Because yes, a gym's great for community, but how most gyms are set up right now are not conducive for people with sensory issues or just people that may be reluctant to gyms in the first place due to just the pressure that comes along with being at a gym. And so hopefully one day I can employ other trainers with disabilities. I can employ people at all levels, depending on what they're interested in and everything like that, because obviously not everybody's going to be interested in just doing what I.
Right. Absolutely. You do have to take you have to take a lot in terms of like what everybody is like, in terms of the environment and in terms about like what their strengths are, weaknesses, everything has to be considered when it comes to in any work environment really, including in that kind of setting. But still, that is awesome to hear that. And also, I know you're also involved on a advisory board as well. What
Yeah.
experiences have been like?
Well, I've only been on in two of the meetings so far, and with being with COVID restrictions and everything, we haven't gotten too much done. And it is government, so government's very slow, as we all know. Uh, but it's been rewarding already, being able to kind of bump elbows with some of the big people in autism in the Tampa Bay area, which is really cool. And we're kind of getting ready to help out with some of the Super Bowl stuff. So we'll see what happens with that. But it's just interesting because I get to be a leader within my community, that I get a place at the table that most of these advisory boards that are city, county, state, countrywide, it means something when you're actually put on that board because the person in charge, like the mayor in this instance, chose me out of all the people with autism that live in the area, and so it's very meaningful just to be able to say, hey, I've been chosen to be on this board, and that the people that nominated me and wanted me on this board deemed me worthy enough, knowledgeable enough in autism area to be able to contribute and say my 2 cents when someone else may not be as open to talk about stuff.
Right. I can relate with that as well because of being on my own community group that I am part of called the NJ Autism Think Tank, and I'm the only individual with autism that is in the committee group and everything. And like some of the things that we've been trying to accomplish, and there was things we were trying to accomplish in terms of like with legislation stuff, like even bigger stuff. And unfortunately, due with COVID, there's things that take a step back, and we had to like basically start up from scratch and everything in terms of helping and supporting the community and everything. So like what we've been trying to do is we're actually trying to create a website so that way there's resources for families, for individuals living with autism and stuff, so that way they get the amount of resources that they could get for support and anything that they need and stuff. So yeah, that's just pretty much from what I've been up to and stuff in terms of that. But that is really cool to hear that. Wow, that is awesome. And I think that it's just hopefully the board just keeps on growing and stuff in terms of like with the people like getting involved and stuff, and with everything like taking more action in the community, because really it is needed. It is definitely needed.
Especially with everything changing due to this virus and everything. It's good that the city I live in, Tampa, has decided that they need people with, uh, they need everybody at the table. They don't just need um, the people up top. They need people with disabilities. They need different kinds of people They need different genders, that it's not just, oh, let's get two white males, it's getting different people, and that's really good.
And that is very important because it just shows about how diverse and how inclusive that it's becoming, which is awesome to hear that. And I think a lot more is gonna come in a positive direction and stuff for that. So that's awesome to hear that. So to wrap things up here, what are some advice that you would give to individuals with autism?
Um, One thing I would say is that there are people that support you, that you're not alone in your journey of life, because we've kind of just been handed placed in a country and a world that doesn't quite understand us, and we don't quite understand it. But yet there are people out there that are like you and that completely understand you. That there are things that you can do in this world. I wanted to play sports growing up. Unfortunately, you can't always fill out your dreams. It's just the reality of things. You may not always find some a direct path. You have to find other ways. So for me, personal training aligns with sports, right? It's a parallel path. And I think that's very important for individuals with autism to understand, is that they can find something with their interest in something else as well. It's not just, oh, I I only play video games, I have to be a gamer. Well, actually, there's about 30 different jobs that you can do with video games. There's so much more than just that one little aspect, because in all reality, you have to be very, very special to be able to make that cut, And even though you can still follow your dreams and do your best, you still have to know that reality. So I think those are two really big things um, for individuals with autism, because you need to know you have a community, and you need to know that there are um, other routes.
Exactly. Like no one is alone because there are so many people out there that you can reach out to, because in terms of like just with like relating with each other, and like even if it's not exactly similar experiences, you just would know that there are people that support you along the way in your journey and everything. And just like, and also where you were saying about with using your special interests and stuff, like um that's kind of, that reminded me exactly with me going into working in the schools. Like, yeah, I didn't go exactly in the direction of being a teacher, but I ended up working in the schools anyway. So like, just like those interests and stuff, like are very important to keep in mind and stuff, and don't let anybody tell you different, because there's gonna be people out there that will say something, but stick to what you believe in and just keep on going with what you're interested in and everything. So those are very two excellent points right there, Mark. So it was awesome about those. And Mark, thank you so much for coming on to share your story. It was awesome having you on here.
Thank you, Michelle.